It was the year when Ma Bell had babies. People got exercised over a video, and a rock star went bats. Here are the 10 most thrilling, outrageous, memorable, heartbreaking, energetic, delightful, contentious, bizarre, compelling stories of the year. Who can forget 1982?
Let's do this.
Thriller. How could you not remember Thriller?
In 1982, there was really only one voice that could unify us. And that voice was a high-pitched man-child named Michael Jackson.
This was the apex of Michael Jackson's career.
I think 7 of the 9 cuts on that album were top 10 hits.
You had Thriller, you had Billie Jean, you had Beat It.
Wanna Be Starting Something, Human Nature, PYT, which is such a good sandwich.
It was Michael Jackson mania.
People I knew were like wearing the jackets.
I made my mother make a white sequins glove that I could run around school and shake my hand.
The moonwalk was everywhere.
We were talking about it in school. Did you see that guy floating along the stage?
The Thriller album hit at an interesting time because the music video was really gaining in popularity and he took full advantage of it.
That Billie Jean video where he's dancing in this strange dystopian future. Then the video for Beat It came out, somehow making Michael Jackson a credible gang member.
He doesn't last a minute. He's like, hee, not the bass.
Michael Jackson's Thriller music video set the bar for all music videos. It almost transcended the song itself.
This wasn't just a video, it was theater.
This was like Night of the Living Dead meets Soul Train.
Whew, look at that zombie go. That's, ooh, he's popping and locking. We should go, they're getting closer.
We all knew the moves.
Thriller.
This whole deal right here, I think did he go all the way around?
Once you hear that music coming on, there's no way you can't just start doing it.
You know when something really is good when today we're still doing this.
I guess that's how legends become legends, right? They're ahead of their time.
Listen, there's never gonna be anybody like Michael Jackson.
Francis Pym said today that Argentinian ships in the 200-mile blockade zone will be sunk.
The first thing I thought about when I heard about the Falkland War is, where the heck is the Falklands?
To this day, I couldn't tell you.
One of the greatest ways to study geography is just follow where the bombs land.
Argentina was always this type of, quiet country, and all of a sudden they decided to become nationalists and take over these islands, which had been under British rule for God knows how long.
It's pretty ballsy of Argentina to attack, basically the British Empire, that tends to not go well.
One thing they did not count on was Margaret Thatcher.
All right, you bastards! You're messing with Margaret Thatcher! Bitch, hold my earrings!
Margaret Thatcher was the first female prime minister of the UK, and she was tough.
Margaret Thatcher was going through a very difficult period of economic distress, high unemployment, high inflation. Her popularity at that time was very poor.
I'm sure nobody in Great Britain was thinking about the Falkland Islands, but you don't know what you got until you lose it.
The British Navy is on the way, so this is not going to end well for whomever is attacking.
The British won't confirm it for obvious reasons, but there are thought to be 2 and perhaps as many as 4 Royal Navy hunter-killer submarines like this one in the area.
By early June, the British had taken over the capital, and by June 14th, the conflict was over.
The spirit of the South Atlantic was the spirit of Britain at her best.
They say there's never a winner in war, but Margaret Thatcher certainly used this to her advantage because this put her on the map.
Great. Beat France. Beat like a longtime rival, Argentina. But what's their record in wars? 0-0? Come on. I wasn't very impressed, to be honest with you.
From Hollywood, we bring you the Lawrence Welk Show.
In 1982, America lost an institution. Lawrence Welk taped and aired his final show.
I loved Lawrence Welk.
It would just take you back to a simpler time.
Bubbles, everyone, bubbles.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Many people probably remember the Lawrence Welk Show as the soundtrack to walking into your grandparents' house.
Here are two fine musicians, Joe Lavoie and Bob Ralston, playing the beautiful Summertime.
I also found it odd that he had a German accent and he was from North Dakota.
He just had the very, very different way of talking. It was that little up and down.
Thank you, girls.
At home, he's going, oh my gosh, what a pain in the neck that show was. I'm so sick of doing the phony accent. And call me Larry.
Now here's a word about fast-acting Bizodol tablets.
Over the course of the hour, you were treated to songs, dances from Lawrence Welk's musical family. You had the Lennon sisters, the Atwell twins, Norma Zimmer, the original Champagne Lady.
If those names sound familiar to you, you should probably go to bed.
In the 30 years that the Lawrence Welk Show was on the air, it seems like everything in American culture changed, except the Lawrence Welk Show.
It was like a 1-hour oasis of calm.
Lawrence Welk was this island of hope in a world that just was falling apart.
You'll never have that innocence again. It's gone. It's never coming back.
The 80s may have taken Lawrence Welk from us, but at least we still had Donnie and Marie.
It's time for a Who Can Forget pop quiz. What 1982 innovation was pneumatically powered? Was it A, the Apple Dot Matrix printer, B, the Magic Wand Speak and Learn, or C, the Jarvik 7 Artificial Heart? The answer is C, the Jarvik 7 Artificial Heart. It was used in 1982 for the first successful artificial heart transplant.
Made headlines, medical history. Meanwhile, the Tin Man back in Oz says it's been done.
The changes at the phone company aren't just a lot of legal and financial Mickey Mouse. There's a revolution going on in the telephone business.
Throughout the 20th century, AT&T effectively held a monopoly on our phones. It was called the Bell system, affectionately called Ma Bell.
I mean, what kind of mother issues did we have in the 80s that we wanted AT&T to be our mother?
They controlled the lines, they controlled the phone, they controlled the equipment. We had to rent our phone from AT&T.
AT&T employed like 1 million people at the time.
It was the largest private corporation in the entire world.
Boom! In comes Uncle Sam.
It's a huge antitrust lawsuit, the United States against AT&T.
AT&T got the smackdown from the United States government, basically losing everything.
AT&T agreed to sell off 2/3 of its assets and give up most of its employees within 18 months.
So now we don't have the big bad Bell system anymore. We have the baby Bells. Bell South, Bell Atlantic, Southwestern Bell.
New Jersey Bell. When you would pick up the phone, they say, "What are you looking at?"
I think people were afraid of this breakup because they knew it was going to make things more confusing.
I remember my dad not being happy about it. Well, what the hell you break up the phone company for?
It ultimately led to some positive outcomes, one of which is it created competition. And it also created those random phone calls from Sprint and MCI asking you to switch your phone service.
Are you happy? Would you like to switch? What if I could offer you this? It was just endless.
Ironically, AT&T ended up getting absorbed by one of the baby Bells,
which in turn renamed their company AT&T.
It's hard to think that at one time, a company like AT&T controlled everyone's phone. I mean, just imagine if there was a company like that today. Like, for instance, if you had a search engine and you couldn't search for anything without consulting this huge mega conglomerate company. That would be a nightmare.
One choice is not a choice, America.
That's it. The biggest revolution in the recording industry since the invention of the long-playing gramophone record.
In 1982, the latest audio format was born.
Revolutionary. Oh my goodness.
This was like so space age, oh my God.
I mean, look at this thing. It looks like the future.
In October of 1982, 50 titles were released on CD for the first time,
including a host of Chopin waltzes, a re-release of Billy Joel's 52nd Street, and Dire Straits' Love Over Gold.
Which really ran the gamut of music only white people like.
You simply place the disc in there like a conventional record player.
Despite costing $1,000, over 400,000 compact disc players were sold over the next 24 months.
It was not a needle, it was lasers. We were using lasers. This was like Star Wars time.
The way the machine ate it. That was cool. Still fun to watch.
You don't have to rewind, you don't have to fast forward.
You missed it. Go back. And then you tried to like forward, back, forward. Compact disc. Press a button. Bing. You're there.
When we first heard them, it was amazing digital sound. It was so crisp.
My job was to go over to people in the store and say, would you like to listen to the compact disc? See how wonderful this sounds. And they'd put the headphones on and they go, oh my goodness.
Yes, there's lasers and all that, and it's very crisp and clean, but man, I miss that little when you would drop the needle on the record. That's a special sound.
Compact discs may well rule the roost, at least until someone perfects a method of putting Beethoven's Ninth on a silicon chip.
For 2 decades, the CD reigned supreme, but then began streaming and digital downloads, and this is a coaster.
Ozzy Osbourne rules! How many of us as children remember being on the playground talking about Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat?
It was just portrayed in Ohio as if that's just how Ozzy Osbourne started his day. Sharon! Good morning. This is 2 years after Ozzy's departure from Black Sabbath. He's on his second solo album and he's touring in Des Moines, Iowa.
I was actually in Des Moines, Iowa in 1982. I was working for the ABC affiliate, WOI, and this was a story back then.
He already had a crazy reputation.
There was a rumor that he had bitten the heads off of some doves.
Which is why the Flock of Seagulls said they'd never tour with him.
So in the middle of the concert, this kid pulls the bat out, throws it on the stage. Ozzy Osbourne, in the throes of rock and roll excitement, probably under the influence of several inebriating substances, decides to have a little fun.
Hey, everybody, it's a bat.
And that's when Ozzy Osbourne realized, that's not a toy bat!
The taste of bats is very salty.
Ew!
The medical implications of biting a head off a bat are, God, I can't begin to tell you. Don't do it.
That might have been a real bat. Could you just go take a look? I'm hoping it was a warm jelly, maybe it was something.
At the end of the day, though, it's pretty metal.
Street cred through the roof.
Eat bat! Crazy.
And now, when you think about where COVID really started, I think you have to look back to Iowa 1982.
All I am is a conductor of mayhem.
Time magazine was once actually seen as an influential publication.
And when they picked a person of the year, it was serious stuff.
It was one of the biggest awards that was given out by a journalistic outfit.
People would literally get up early, go down to the newsstand, and wait for it to open to see who's it gonna be.
You always expected, the president and Nobel laureate.
Could have been good or could have been bad. Famously, Joseph Stalin was Person of the Year.
I think Hitler was Man of the Year at one point.
In 1982, it wasn't a Man of the Year, it wasn't a Person of the Year, it was a Machine of the Year, the computer.
I don't understand how few quality men we had in 1982 that we started giving this award to an appliance.
This can't be. This won't stand. Where's the humanity? It's in that computer.
Steve Jobs was reportedly very upset that he didn't make Person of the Year.
He created something that put him out of the running for a Man of the Year. Karmic? Perhaps.
It's like Frankenstein losing Time Man of the Year to Frankenstein's monster.
Time magazine called it right. We were right on the precipice of a revolution.
I think it was a message. Things were changing.
Certainly, it started, a series of other gimmicky covers from Time magazine.
The Peacemakers in 1993 and the Good Samaritans in 2005.
And I remember in 2006 when they just had a mirror as the cover and the Person of the Year was you.
But then once you put it down, it's just whoever picks it up next is the Person of the Year. So Where's the fun in that?
Woo! Jane Fonda's workout.
My mom had every tape.
This and this.
This is great. This is the great workout. I think I'm breaking a sweat now.
When you look at how America works out today, it was much different in the early 80s.
You know, you had the friend that had the exercise bike in the garage or the basement, or maybe some manual treadmill that you could try to run on.
Everybody was basically still stoned in the 70s or on something, right? So working out, who's going to do that when you're completely hungover or something else?
At that point in time, Olivia Newton-John had a very popular song on the radio, Let's Get Physical.
Somehow fitness became hot all of a sudden.
There was a desire at that time to start finding ways to exercise in a more organized fashion.
Jane Fonda, huge movie star, 2 Oscars, daughter of Henry Fonda. She's basically Hollywood royalty. So I think everyone was surprised when she came out with a VHS workout video.
This was truly a perfect storm of industry. You had a captive audience at home. You've got the home video market really starting to come onto the scene.
The videos all feature Jane Fonda doing aerobics with a bunch of Viet Cong soldiers surrounding her. Or maybe that's a different video, I can't remember.
It wasn't good enough just to work out. You had to have the look.
Before you know it, leg warmers and headbands and leotards found their way in the living rooms of every American household.
You saw a lot of people in malls, at parties, they got headbands on, they show up in these tight leggings.
The socks all the way up.
Leg warmers,
The pink tights.
the whole, hair thing.
The guys loved it. I think more than the women loved it.
Did I watch the video when my mom wasn't around, even though I had no plans of working out? Yeah, several times.
It revolutionized the whole industry.
The video sold for $59.99.
She sold millions.
This made so much money, other celebrities got in on it. Cher, Bruce Jenner, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
She broke that ground for Richard Simmons, for everybody.
So that big box of Sweatin' to the Oldies in your attic, she's responsible for that.
It's time for another Who Can Forget pop quiz. In its planning stages, this site, opened in 1982, was criticized as a black gash of shame. Was it A, Epcot, B, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, or C, the first Dave & Buster's? The answer is B, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Though harshly criticized at first, it has become one of the most visited sites in Washington.
I find it interesting that such a controversial war would have so much controversy around the creation of its memorial. But thankful that today, it's a place where we all come in unity to honor those who sacrificed for their country.
And now, back to the countdown.
Woolworths wasn't selling Tylenol capsules today. The ban issued earlier in the week was still in effect.
The Tylenol murders.
Scary, scary, scary.
One of the first national media panics I remember.
In September of 1982, 7 people in Chicago died after taking Tylenol.
Suddenly the news story is Tylenol's killing people. It's like, wait a minute, I've got Tylenol in my cabinet.
They actually drove around the city with loudspeakers, pleading with people, if you have Tylenol, throw it out.
The Tylenol scare had a major ripple effect across the United States.
For Johnson & Johnson, this was the PR disasters of PR disasters.
They recalled over 31 million bottles of Tylenol.
It's amazing that it did not bankrupt Johnson & Johnson.
The capsules had been taken apart and somebody had put cyanide inside the capsule.
And then returned the bottles to the store, which were then sold to customers.
I'm not an FBI profiler, but that's twisted.
This wasn't a Son of Sam or a Zodiac killer where somebody came and got you. This was getting you when you were not even aware that you were vulnerable.
While there were many persons of interest, the authorities never discovered who actually put cyanide in the Tylenol tablets, and to this day it remains a mystery.
They never caught him? Well, that's great.
And that's why we have the almost impossible to open Tylenol bottles we have today.
Everything's tamper resistant today, including my heart.
In 1978, he directed Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In 1981, he directed Raiders of the Lost Ark. And now, Steven Spielberg brings us E.T., the Extraterrestrial.
E.T. was magical.
Aww.
It's hard to describe how big E.T. was.
It was in theaters for more than a year. Can you picture that now? Of any movie?
E.T. Phone home. E.T. Phone home.
The little light up finger.
Phone home.
It was screened at the White House. Ronald Reagan and Nancy loved it. It apparently moved Princess Diana to tears.
E.T. made audiences cry. But ironically enough, Steven Spielberg laughed all the way to the bank.
I'm keeping you.
It's the ultimate Spielberg film.
This was a space movie, but unlike anything we'd ever seen.
The touching film about a little alien that came to Earth and desperately wanted to leave until he realized we have junk food.
Reese's Pieces became famous because of E.T. And I'll tell you, I bet you M&M's is still kicking themselves in the rear end.
I bet if Ripley knew all you had to do was give space creatures Reese's Pieces, Aliens would have been a much different film.
Oh, God! Alien. To the forest!
It had everything. It had aliens, adventure, bicycles floating in front of the moon.
Confess it. You tried it. You closed your eyes when you're riding your bike and you pretended to be Elliot.
A much more innocent time.
I'll be right here.
That was the moment where, it was the ugly cry moment.
Who didn't cry at the end?
Ouch. No, I did not cry. I did not cry in the back of the theater, hiding my face in my hoodie sweatshirt. I don't think I did.
If you wanted to make a long distance call, you had to call this number, and like my parents still had a rotary phone. So now you got to go 1-800-735 phone. And see, you get one of those numbers wrong, click, click, you're starting over. Then you got to enter your code. Now that's my code. So now you're making a long distance call. What number did you want to call? At any point, if you up the sequence, you have to start over. And then some bitch tries to tell you, you only have 2 minutes left. I've been dialing for 28 of them. It was the most frustrating.